Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your testimony. And I wanted to start with the unemployment insurance and the conversation that is going on. And this is one of those kind of set of things that you referred to as changing on the near horizon. And a conversation is going on about whether to sustain the 79-week standard. And how do you see that piece of the puzzle fitting into the issues that would affect the economy?
Well, unemployment insurance is multifaceted. On the one hand, obviously, it provides some support for people who are unemployed or have unemployed family members. And those people, in turn, also will be more likely to spend, which will add to demand in the economy. It probably, on the margin, leads people to wait a little longer. That the spells of unemployment may be a little bit longer because of unemployment insurance, but that too is a mixed blessing because in some cases the extra time allows people to find a more appropriate job with a higher wage instead of taking the very first thing that they see. There's a lot of interesting ideas out there for redesign of unemployment insurance. Are there ways, for example, to create incentives for more training, skill building during the period of unemployment through the way in which unemployment insurance is paid? So I think as you discuss it, it would be useful to look at the design and ask whether or not, for example, part of the payments could be used for training or for skill building.
Thank you. And as you know, there's many other proposals out there that for redesign that may be more about stopping the continuation of unemployment insurance than actually improving the way it works. So that's a real concern in this conversation. But I gather from your point is that it plays a significant, substantial role, particularly during periods of high unemployment, in creating a foundation for demand and the workforce readjusting to the skills of the changing economy. I think I'm restating what you just said, but I wanted to make sure I read.
Yes, it helps on those dimensions. There are situations, I mean, I think it has to be said that in Europe, for example, there are some countries where unemployment insurance is so generous that it creates a permanent unemployed class, which we certainly don't want to do. So that there are balances you have to strike, but those are some of the considerations.
Thank you. Turning to home ownership, housing market, you've noted that excess supply of vacant homes stemming from foreclosures depresses housing demand and has an impact on, and you've sent a white paper to Congress laying out a number of ideas, many of which my colleagues and I have been discussing over the last 2 years and made less progress on than we had hoped. One of those concepts is proceeding to try to enable large groups of homes that are sitting vacant and driving down prices to re-enter the rental market. And I would add to that anything we can do to get homeowners back into those homes as well. But it seems like on both fronts, helping individual homeowners, and when that's not possible, getting those homes out of vacancy would be a strong strategy to stop the decline in values and start to restore the housing market. So if you want to add any comments or thoughts on that as well.
Well, yes, I think it's an interesting direction, and we provide some analysis of it, as you say, in the background paper that we circulated. Right now, we're seeing house prices still either flat or falling. They're down more than 30% in nominal terms. And meanwhile, there's a shortage of rental housing, apartments, rents are beginning to rise. So there's an imbalance there, and to the extent we can move housing from single family to rental, I think that's positive. The GSCs have announced a trial program, experimental program, to see, the details to be worked out, and they've announced a program. The related point I think you alluded to is that there are very heavy costs to leaving homes unoccupied for long periods of time. It's the vandalism and neglect will cause the house value to decline significantly. It will hurt the neighborhood and so on. So efforts to maintain continuous occupation by an owner or a renter is also a positive. REO to rental programs do that, but so potentially might alternatives to foreclosure like rent to own or other short sales, deed in lieu, other things that maintain continuous inhabitation of the house.
Thank you.
Marihuana que fumar.